Welcome, 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 everybody. My name is Robbie Samuels, and it's my privilege and honor to be helping host and produce the virtual book launch for Dr. Jennifer Nash's new book. You all are here to witness some great history and hear from amazing people. If you have any technical issues, that's why I'm here. Just shoot a note in chat and I will try to assist you. But we've got a great lineup. We've actually got several very special guests with us today. I wanted to highlight one of them in particular. So get ready to wave because Dr. Jennifer Nash would not be here if not for this very special guest, her mom, Mama Nash, Susan Nash. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hello, everyone. I am so happy to support Jennifer in this book launch for her new book, Be Human, Lead Human. We're so proud of her efforts in trying to bring to light a new relationship between the employer and the employee, and we wish her much success with this new book.
We are, honored that you're able to connect with us from Michigan. I want to kick things off with our first very special guest, and that is Alan Mulally. So Alan wrote the foreword for this book, and that is not a small thing because he has had quite a tremendous career. Alan is the former executive vice president of the Boeing Company, president and CEO of Boeing Commercial Airlines, president of Boeing Information Defense and Space Systems, and president and CEO of the Ford Motor Company. Alan leads with humility, love, and service. His working together leadership management system and its connected culture of love by design creates value for all the stakeholders and the greater good. It is my honor to invite Alan to join us on stage. Alan, we've lost your audio. You're not muted.
There we go. How's that?
Perfect.
Okay, great. Well, first, thank you very much, Robbie. And also, it's just great to be with you all. And Jennifer, congratulations. Wow, what a pleasure to be here with you. And what a piece of work that you're sharing with everybody now. So I was asked to share a little bit about my leadership journey and experiences, and also especially my relationship with Jennifer. And also, what do I think about Be Human and Lead Human? So it's a pleasure, absolute pleasure to share that with you. So with respect to my experiences, as Robbie pointed out, I had the honor to serve at Boeing for 37 years. And I was asked to serve on the design team and also the production team and the in-service team for each of the Boeing commercial airplanes. So I love to say this slowly: the 707, the 727, the 737, the 747, the 757, the 767. And I was asked to serve as the chief engineer and the head of design and then the program manager for the 777, which is the number one airplane in the world. And then when I was the CEO, we launched the 787. And if you look at all of the seats that are flying today and all the commercial airplanes, 70% of them are in Boeing airplanes. So clearly, if it's not a Boeing airplane, you shouldn't be going. Okay, now, the reason I wanted to share that with you is that in addition to the airplanes and also becoming the number one commercial airplane company in the world, one of the absolute neatest things about those experiences was creating our working together culture. And as Robbie pointed out, it's also the leadership, also the management system, but also it's the culture, the connected culture of love by design. And our first principles and practices is love them up, every one of the participants. And when we're creating a new airplane, we have nearly 600,000 people that are working on the airplane at one time. So this working together, both the operating process and the expected behavior, is just absolutely critical. And so that was absolutely the essence and the reason that we were able to create the finest commercial airplane company in the world, and also to create value for all the stakeholders and also the greater good. Because commercial airplanes were the first internet before we had an internet. So we were actually getting people together around the world so we could find out we had more in common than we're different. And so I didn't think I'd ever leave Boeing. And then I get a call from Bill Ford. Whoa, I'm going, the great grandson of Henry Ford? And of course, if you're an engineer and you're into innovation and safe and efficient transportation, Henry Ford is like one of our heroes. And so Bill started explaining the situation at Ford. And the more he explained it to me, the tougher the situation got. And I finally asked him at one point, so what is your forecast for profits for the year? And this was in September. He said, well, we're anticipating, our forecast is a $17 billion loss. I said, really? And so 4 months later, we achieved it. So this wasn't a forecast accuracy issue. We had a fundamental opportunity to improve our vision, our strategy, and our plan. So a lot of people ask me why I would leave as a CEO of Boeing and go to Ford. And the answer is that I really felt like I was being asked to serve a second American and global icon. And of course, as we all know, Boeing and Ford are the reason that we are free as a country for World War II, because we pulled together. And so what Bill really wanted me to do, and one of the reasons he selected me, was that he understood and he had studied the working together management system and both the leadership of it, but also the process and the expected behaviors. And so it was such an honor when I met Jennifer, because she was at Ford, and so I'll never forget, and I'll always treasure our working together and her contribution to helping me implement, and everybody else, our working together management system and its connected culture of love by design. And so a little bit more now about my thoughts about Jennifer's book. Okay, now, the most important thing about this book is the title. Okay, you guys, it's unbelievable. This could be, in my opinion, the best title of a book ever that describes the leader of the future. And I'm going to share with you why. So to be human and lead human, really. And then look at the top of it. To connect all the participants, all the stakeholders, to work together to create value for the greater good. Holy cow, this is a phenomenal book. And so a couple of things about it is that you notice that the title has to be, and it has the lead, how to do. This is one of the first books about leadership development and taking it to the next level that has both the principles and practices of the human being, the leader, and how you do it. This is incredible. And so Jennifer started out with explaining our working together management system in detail, in such detail that when you read the book, you can actually implement it. And it works for your work. It works for your home life. We use it. Nikki and I have been married for 53 years. We have 5 kids, and we even had a version of our working together management system that we use with our family over the years. So she starts out with that, and then she explains in great detail the characteristics of the leader, the B part. Who are you? And which is great. And she also gives you a nice little set of tools in there where you can assess where you are with respect to those characteristics, that to create this kind of a working together environment for everybody. And so what's really incredible about this is that it's so clear about the characteristics of the leader of the future, and also so good about explaining how that leader can then actually implement these processes and the expected behaviors to go with it. And I'll just give you just an unbelievably powerful, just as humbling to me every time I think of this, is the results of this working together management system at Ford and what Jennifer and I did together. So if you look at all of the greater good, I mean, doing this for the greater good, think about all of the stakeholders. Let's start with the customers. So we were going out of business. We were losing $17 billion. And we turned that around, and we were profitable within 2 years. And we generated profits for the next 8 years while I was there. And in addition, we increased our market share because we had committed to a full lineup of cars and trucks, the best in the world, around the world, small, medium, and large, cars, utilities, and trucks. And we became the number one brand in the United States. Unbelievable, from nearly going out of business. Then when we look at the suppliers, when I arrived, we were next to last in the suppliers' eyes about who they wanted to work with on the OEMs. And when I left, we were number 2 behind Toyota, which is still, I think, considered the best. So tremendous progress. And it's all about the working together, about how to be and also how to do, and including all the stakeholders and every step of the way. And then when you look at the investors, our intraday low on the stock price was $1.01, you guys, $1.01. When I left, it was $18.37. That's an approximate growth of 1,837% in value. Now you can imagine how that benefited all of the stakeholders and the greater good worldwide. But maybe the most important measure of our success of creating value for everybody is the employee survey results. And all of the employee survey results, as you know, always end up with a summary question that includes their thoughts about the company, the vision, the strategy, the plan, where they're going, their purpose, also the leadership and the leadership team. And when I arrived, you can imagine how tough it was at Ford. And I think the percent positive at the time was around 40% positive that they believed in all of those aspects of Ford. And when I left, after Jennifer and I did what we did together to create this working together environment, the percent positive was 93%, which was the highest of any company in the world at that time. So again, in summary, this is an incredible book that you're going to absolutely love, that's going to give you everything that you need to move forward and take your leadership to an elevated position to help everybody that's associated, all the stakeholders work together to create value for the greater good. So Jennifer, one more time, I'll never forget and I'll always treasure our working together and your leadership and your partnership and your friendship. And thank you so much for making this commitment to create something so valuable and so useful for the greater good. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, just to kick off already, I've got goosebumps. Thank you for that, Alan. And now I have the honor of introducing Sarah, who will be joining us in just a moment. Sarah MacArthur is the editor-in-chief of the Leader to Leader Journal. That has been founded by Frances Hesselbein, Presidential Medal of Freedom recipient and former CEO of the Girl Scouts. Sarah is a trusted advisor and working together partner to Alan Mulally, former CEO of Boeing and Ford, considered one of the greatest leaders of the 21st century. Sarah is the editor and author of many books, including Work is Love Made Visible with Marshall Goldsmith and Frances Hesselbein, Forward by Alan Mulally, and Coaching for Leadership, Writings on Leadership from the World's Greatest Coaches with Marshall Goldsmith and Lawrence Lyons. Sarah is former CEO for Marshall Goldsmith, #1 executive coach, and New York Times and Wall Street Journal bestselling author of What Got You Here Won't Get You There. Sarah, welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here to celebrate you and your book, Jennifer. It's just an honor for me. to be here. So thank you for inviting me. Of executive coach and best-selling author Marshall Goldsmith's company. In all of the time that I've known Jennifer, she has always been thoughtful, kind, and smart. But most of all, she's incredibly humble. I don't know if she knows just how brilliant she is and what a pleasure she is to know. When I first read Jennifer's early book draft, I was completely taken with its title. It was first titled Leading with Heart, the human element of business. Though its title has changed to a title I love even more, its message is not. And it was that first title that really grabbed my attention. It reminded me of one of the greatest leaders I've ever known, my dear friend, former CEO of the Girl Scouts and Presidential Medal of Freedom recipient, Frances Hesselbein, who used to say that you and I, we are friends of the heart. And that was how she led. She led us as friends of the heart who are working together towards a bright future for all the stakeholders and the greater good. And you can probably see right now that she and Alan are two peas in a pod. She honored us, Frances honored us as humans, and she built trust and connection, much like Alan does, and much like how Jennifer describes for us her leadership in Be Human and Lead Human. So today, I'm editor-in-chief of the award-winning Leader to Leader Journal, founded by Frances about 25 years ago. And we are so excited that Jennifer has agreed to write an article for us so that our readers can learn more about her, about leadership connection and heart for performance, which is what makes this stand out so much to me. Where a lot of authors write about who we need to be, which is wonderful. I love that. Jennifer goes beyond. She talks about how we achieve performance and results as human leaders leading humans. For example, with her chapter about Alan's working together, leadership, management system, and connected culture of love by design, she describes for us how we can be and lead human for our people and for performance. So, Jennifer, so excited to support you and really looking forward to hearing what you and everyone else has to say as we continue with your wonderful book launch. Thank you.
Oh my gosh. Thank you both for kicking us off and just sharing a little bit about why she was the right person to write this book and why this book is so important and the history of where this system even came from and why we're now all have access to it. But I don't want to further delay us getting to meet the woman of honor, the woman who we're all here to celebrate. So let me officially and formally introduce Dr. Jennifer Nash. She is the best-selling author of Be Human, Lead Human, How to Connect People and Performance. She's also the founder and CEO of Jennifer Nash Coaching and Consulting, a global leadership advisory firm helping successful leaders deliver exceptional results. Please join me in welcoming Jennifer Nash.
Thank you so much, Robbie. I'm so excited to be here, and I've just had so much fun already watching everyone come in and join. And it's just so, I feel so supported and so loved right now. And I want to thank everyone for taking the time out of their day to come and spend some time here and join us in this amazing celebration. So I am so excited to finally be launching this book that I have been working on for literally years. It has taken everything I've got, and I'm so excited that it's here today, and the world will now know Be Human, Lead Human. The launch started on May 9th, and so we've had a couple weeks of the book being out in the world, And within 48 hours, the book was a #1 Amazon bestseller in 2 categories. It's got 19 5-star reviews, and I'm extremely excited to share that the book has sold over 257 copies in its first 20 days of life. So when you think about most books only selling 100 copies over their lifetime, I think we're on a pretty good trajectory. And it's thanks to everyone on the call today who has helped that be possible. So I'm very grateful. As you know, and with anything in life, putting together something, it's not a solo adventure. It takes a lot of people. It takes a village. And I'm so grateful to everyone that has helped me in whatever way bring this book into the world. I'm a little bit nervous, so I actually have some notes, and I don't want to forget anyone. So if I were going to read it all, I would actually read you the entire gratitude section, which takes up about 5 pages in the book. But we don't have time for that. So I just want to call out particularly my team members from Jennifer Nash Coaching and Consulting. Some of them are here today. We have Amy Anger and Joseph Bedox and David Ben-Parat, John Caldwell, Skylar Griego, Samantha Higgins, Abarup Kondakar, Danielle Liss, Maya Mattis, Scott Nadeau, Katie O'Brien, Aaron Olila, Hazel Bonilla, and Edlin Guinan. So I'm very grateful to everyone on my team for helping make this book possible and bringing this to life. The other people that I want to make a special call out to on the call are here joining together is Darna and Lauren. Darna and Lauren were part of the Scribe team that is my publisher that helped me bring the book into the world. And we have spent a lot of time together over the last almost 2 years since I turned in the manuscript to edit the manuscript, create the graphics, do all the proofreading, pull the index together. There's so much that goes into pulling a book together and making it professional and polished and a book that I am proud to share with the world. So very special thanks to Darna and to Lauren for helping that be a possibility and helping the book come to life. The other person that I'd like to mention at Scribe also, there's everyone at Scribe, but I also want to mention the person who designed the cover. Now, she's not here today, but when I saw the cover that she had designed for this book, she gave me 5 choices. And when I saw this cover for the book, I knew instantly that this was the right cover for the book. And her name is Amy King, and she was the cover designer. So huge shout out to Amy for giving the book its personality and its life and its unique character. So I hope that this book has the potential and ability to change the world. This book is the start of my leadership legacy, and it's the way that I hope that I can help make a positive difference in the world and make the world a better place, not only for leaders, but for anyone who wants to be their best human self. When we do that, we make the world better for us, we make the world better for those around us, and we make the world as a whole a better place. So I have several book endorsement providers who are here with us today. 4 of them were able to join out of the 8. And you've already heard from Alan. He wrote the amazing foreword for the book. And Yolanda and CB crafted endorsements for the book that are highlighted either or on the book jacket, the initial pages of the book, and the Amazon book page. So I'd first like to introduce you to Yolanda. Yolanda is the VP of People and Engagement at Wireless Vision. Yolanda has spent 25 years in the business of human resources, and she has a passion for setting people and businesses up for success. She believes everything in business starts and ends with how we leverage and invest in people to drive performance. And so I'd like to turn it over to Yolanda to talk a little bit about why she chose to support this book by writing a book endorsement. And welcome, Yolanda.
Thank you so much, Jennifer, for that introduction. And first off, I want to just say I am incredibly proud of you. You are an incredible leader, and I was so very honored as my experience of having you as my executive coach as I was being promoted to Vice President of People and Engagement at Wireless Vision. So thank you so much. I'm so happy that our paths crossed. And I just want to say that I chose to endorse this book because I believe in everything about Be Human and Lead Human. It aligns so very well with my leadership style, my leadership approach. I just believe that being authentic is one of the best characteristics of any leader. And your book, Be Human, Lead Human, really, really addresses the power of authenticity in your leadership approach. So I'm just so very incredibly happy that you allowed me to participate on this project with you by getting an advance copy of the book to read, as well as being able to endorse this for you. It truly made my heart happy to be a part of this for you. Very well done, and just super, super proud of you and what you have accomplished. So thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Yolanda, and I'm so happy that you could be a part of this. And it's been such a pleasure watching you grow and evolve into this vice president role at Wireless Vision. I couldn't be prouder of you, and it was an honor to partner with you on your journey. So thank you as well.
Thank you.
So the next person I'd like to introduce is CB Bowman, and I believe CB joined us. Yes,
but she's not here at the moment.
I think she is, but I see we need to change her name, Robbie, if we can make that happen. Okay. So CB Bowman Automanelli is known as the Courage Consultant and is the host of the Courage to Leap and Lead videocast and podcast. She's the CEO of the Association of Corporate Executive Coaches and is an MG 100 member. CB is a global certified master corporate executive coach with experience working in marketing, coaching, and branding. And CB, I'd love to turn it over to you to just talk a little bit about what prompted you to get involved with the book.
Good. I can unmute myself. The host is spotlighting. Beautiful. Okay. All right. First of all, I want to say hello to your mom. She is absolutely gorgeous, and you look just like her. She's absolutely beautiful. And say hello to Sarah, who I've known for a long time, and Alan. And thank you so much for inviting me to be part of this festivity and your amazing accomplishment. So what prompted me to get involved? First of all, it was you, Jennifer. Who could say no to Jennifer, right? She is so kind and wonderful, and I couldn't resist. And, you know, her book, Be Human, Lead Human, tells it all. And my book is coming out probably in July, called Courage to Leap and Lead. And I really feel like this is the beginning, to be able to be human to somebody under any circumstance is, you know what? I don't know what to say about it, because it's so important, and yet it's missed by so many people. And I can tell you from being a Black woman in corporate America, it is missed by a lot of people. And I want to read something that I didn't even know, if I can find it in your book, the difference between transformational and transactional. You said it so well. For those that, this is the book, on page 50, where you say, this leads to the first key takeaway of this chapter. Transformational relationships are interaction and connection between two human beings through which each person shares and receives value, lessons, and grows. That was so powerful for me. You know, I think in our hearts, we all try to live like this, but sometimes what comes out of our mouths doesn't equal what was written in this book. But now knowing the difference between that and transactional, which I love how you described it, where one person wins and the other person loses, you stop and think about relationships that you have. And you say, what kind of relationship do I have with people? So this book makes you stop and think. And I have to tell you, Alan, I probably will embarrass you, but that's okay. I wanted Alan to be on my podcast for a long time, and nobody would introduce me to him. And I said, just wait, the universe is going to put him in your space. And then when I met him through Jennifer, thank you, I said, can I ask him now? And I read this chapter and I said, no, you can't. He might assume that it is transactional and not transformational. So now I have to bite my tongue and I have to wait till I prove myself. And so thank you for this guide, Jennifer. Alan, wait, I'm going to be transformational in your life. Thank you so much for writing this book. It is now my new Bible. Thank you.
Thank you so much, CV. I am so appreciative of your glowing comments. I'm blushing over here, so I'm just gonna try to remove the redness. It never really works, but thank you so much. I appreciate that. The next set of people I'd like to introduce you to are several of my former clients that I've had the pleasure of working with. They come from different backgrounds, different industries. And the first person that I'd like to introduce you to is Emily McHenry. Emily is a seasoned nonprofit executive. She currently serves as the Chief Mission Integration Officer for Goodwill Industries of the Greater Chattanooga area. With a knack for transforming systems and generating unique revenue streams for services, Emily leverages partnerships to enhance community-based organizations and optimize programming to deepen impact. This year, Emily was presented with the Beacon Award for her innovative approach to rebranding services and for pioneering a training and learning culture. Emily, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, Jennifer. And like everybody else has said, congratulations on this significant, amazing, impactful achievement. I'm honored to be in the room with so many greats and so much greatness. So thank you. When Jennifer and I started working together, I think it's been about 5 years now, I was transitioning out of a different career. I was in teaching, right? And right before the pandemic, so many things on my mind, obviously not the pandemic, but because I couldn't predict that. But I had so many options for my career, for my personal life. And Jennifer, through her coaching and just through her knack of getting me to come to my own conclusions, helped me get to where I am today. Jennifer probably won't take much of any credit for that, but I do owe her a lot. And this book just echoes everything that she has said to me in our one-on-one conversations. And, you know, as a nonprofit executive, I have the opportunity to leverage a lot of impact in my community, as well as through our larger network here at Goodwill. I started out as a specialist, and now I'm a chief officer in a dream job that I didn't think was accessible to me at one point in my life. And Jennifer and her words have helped me get there. That impact that Jennifer has is impacting the larger community too, in that the relationship building and the leading through and with change that Jennifer talks about in this book is something that I'm driving home with my staff, so that they are then relaying the same message with all of our participants, all of our job seekers, who are then taking that message across the community as they enter into the workplace and advance their own careers. So Jennifer, know that your words don't end here, that they are going in multitude. So thank you. Congratulations. So excited for you.
Oh, thank you so much, Emily. That makes me so happy to hear that. That is exactly why I wrote this book. I'm so grateful that that is creating positive ripples of impact and positive change. And it's not just stopping with you, it's actually extending out through you. And that was my vision for why I wrote the book. The next person I'd like to introduce is Yolanda. And Yolanda, again, is the VP of People and Engagement at Wireless Vision. She spent 25 years in human resources, and she has a passion for setting people and businesses up for success. She believes everything in business starts and ends with how we leverage and invest in people to drive performance. And Yolanda is going to talk a little bit about her unique coaching experience that she had, which was a stakeholder-centered coaching experience, and then also talk about how that has impacted her leadership and how Wireless Vision is implementing a human leadership within their organization. So welcome again, Yolanda.
Thanks again, Jennifer. And yeah, it was such an incredible experience. We had an opportunity to have our paths cross when I was looking for an executive coach as I was transitioning into my new role as Vice President of People and Engagement here at Wireless Vision. And we customized this learning experience for me using a stakeholder-centered coaching experience. And it was just incredible. And it started with the process of feedback, right? And also closing the loop on feedback. You know, it was not just about me opening myself up to receiving feedback, but really receiving it from a group of individuals that had a stake in my development and had a stake in my success in my new role, which was a really, really big role for me. So that's why it was also important that I wanted to have an executive coach, because I was so vested and committed to the process of living up to this really big job and big responsibility that I had. So getting feedback from those stakeholders, my direct leader, who is the COO, my peer group, also my direct reports, and getting their feedback. And it allowed me to understand how they perceived me as a leader, but it also allowed me to get insight on what their expectations were of me and how could I navigate that, what my own agendas were in terms of what I felt needed to be accomplished within the organization. So it was just an incredible experience, and it was truly a win-win, I think, for everybody involved, myself, my stakeholders, the company at large, because it added a ton of clarity on what my role and responsibility was. And quite frankly, the biggest piece of it is I think we all reached a degree of trust that we had not experienced before. And that really just set the tone for the rest of the relationship in the team and how we were going to collaborate and work together. So it was really a wonderful opportunity. It added so much value to my transition into my new role. And one of my favorite parts, I would have to say, of the book is really around the human leadership operating model. It was one of my favorites because I'm a huge advocate that effective leadership, and Jennifer, you know this through our many conversations, it starts with building trust and allowing people to know that you have their best interest. Even when the decisions that you have to make, they may not like them, but they know that in the end, you have their best interest, and also taking them along on the journey with you, right? So not what needs to be accomplished, but how it needs to be accomplished and why. Slowing down to explain the why. And I really think it just really speaks to leading self and how you show up, right? And that's when you can begin to tackle the really important piece, which is being able to lead others. And I think we do a pretty good job of that at WV. It's not only woven into our core values. One of them is passion for people, right? Because you cannot begin to do this work without having a passion for people, or you will not have any sustainable results. And we truly, truly believe that in everything that we do, so much so that we've added it into what we call our 4 leadership competencies, which starts with leading self, leading others, leading service, and then leading results, because you cannot have any form of sustainable results if you cannot do those first 3 things, which is leading self, leading others, and leading service. And I think I was able to add so much value in my role to those competencies because of my experience with you as my executive coach. And then when you did the book, it just really spoke to all of that. And yes, I was one of those early adopters, of course, being an endorser. I have a book for every single one of my team members on my team. So thank you so much for that.
Wonderful. Thank you, Solana, for sharing all of that. And I'm, of all of the clients that I have worked with that have gone through stakeholder-centered coaching, Yolanda, I never told you this, but you were actually the client who had the most observable behavior change.
Wow.
So
Thank
congratulations.
you.
I'm very proud of you for that. Yeah. So the next person I'd love to introduce you to is Shannon Frick. And Shannon started her career racing BMX bicycles professionally at age 8. She's currently a vice president at Qualtrics, an experience management software company responsible for enterprise strategic sales. She has over 15 years of sales leadership, specializing in developing high-performing leadership teams, and is passionate to see women excel in sales and leadership. Her hobbies include playing golf, pickleball, and traveling. So welcome, Shannon. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. I really appreciate it. I think as everyone else has echoed, I was really excited to be given a pre-launch copy of your book. And again, congratulations on this amazing accomplishment. It's so exciting to see. I had the opportunity to be part of, have Jennifer as my executive coach. And I don't know about you, but have you ever been asked to write your obituary? That was the first exercise that Jennifer gave me as a part of our first executive coaching session. And every session, I will say from then on, she really gave me the opportunity to reflect on the current state and then identify what areas I wanted to focus on, where my passion was, and where I needed to develop. As we all mentioned, as several people mentioned, the book is all about the human element of leadership, which we all know is critical to being a successful leader. But Jennifer and I, in a lot of our sessions, we talked about leading post-COVID, and we were coming out of COVID as Jennifer and I were going through our sessions, and it was really a different opportunity. At Qualtrics, we're a high growth organization navigating a lot of the dynamics of change. And I feel so strongly that every leader within our organization can benefit from the practical examples she shares and the ideas. So I'm really excited to get my entire leadership team, and actually our company's entire leadership team, a copy of the book. 3 things that stood out to me were, making sure that I give more praise and recognition to my team. Be present for my team. Don't get distracted. And then the importance of empathy and small acts of kindness. A great example of that, I had the opportunity to read the book while I was on vacation. And when I came across chapter 5 of the book, I saw a handwritten note from Jennifer, which, just gave me a smile. And then as for my obituary that I started with, Jennifer helped me uncover what I have left to accomplish, and am I spending the time on the things that I enjoy most? So again, thank you, Jennifer. Really look forward to continuing this journey together, and more importantly, hopefully our organization can benefit.
Thank you so much, Shannon. I love that story, and I'm so happy that that was an impactful exercise for you. I know it's probably a little shocking when someone asks you to write your own obituary, but it sort of tends to put things in perspective, I think, a little bit. And I feel like that's what happened for you. It just got you more clear on where you wanted to go. So the next person I'd love to introduce you to is Michael Mell. And Michael is the Senior Director of Custom Indices at S&P Dow Jones Indices. He's responsible for product management of S&P DJI custom index business throughout the Americas. Michael's focus is on understanding clients' custom indexing needs from a strategic to a methodological level. Michael works with clients across the financial services ecosystem, but he has particular expertise in guiding financial advisors in the launch of their own proprietary indices, bridging the gap between passive and active approaches to the markets. Michael, welcome. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. And I actually have some news. I'm now the global head, and a big part of that is
congratulations.
Yeah, a lot of what happened. So I just want to say thank you. You made a difference with me, and so did the book. So what can I say other than yeah, it's interesting. I think your books come out at an incredibly serendipitous moment, given the rise of AI. And I think the concept of the need to be human was always important, but I suspect that the velocity of this as being essential is literally about to increase quite rapidly. So you couldn't have asked, I think, for better timing to come out with this subject. So yes, glad that it came out. And when I read the book, I think one of the parts that struck out to me most is the concept of give trust to get trust. And, so for me, I read the digital copy, which was great. And that quote in and of itself kind of encapsulates a lot of what Jennifer had taught me and is something that's really important to what I do. And one of the stories that I think are vignettes in the book, which I found most powerful, was about Trisha and Boulevard Bridal. It completely blew me away. So, the industry of wedding dresses and whatnot, this is not an area that I'm familiar with, but the concept of giving trust to get trust and how you highlighted in the book what she did without the records and making sure the adjustments were done, I think really illustrates what could be more human than a wedding, right? I mean, this is obviously one of the key things in anybody's life. And that story in and of itself meant a lot to me as I read the book, to sort of reemphasize a lot of the lessons that you had taught me, particularly with active listening. And for the record, I always push my big toe down still as a reminder to listen. I never forgot that. My big toe is like huge now. It could be Olympic quality weightlifting. The thing that I'd like to sort of just end on with all of this is actually about Brazil. So why am I even talking about Brazil? So part of the reason why last week, Jennifer, when we were emailing, I was so frazzled and running around is because I was in Brazil for work, two cities, Sao Paulo and Rio. And something happened there that kind of clicked with everything here. So it was an intense week. Literally I got off the plane on Monday and we were in meetings by 10 a.m. And it was just, extremely busy, fruitful meetings, tons of different clients. And the person who had taken care of us, his name's Paulo, for him to put this together and to do it in two cities, arrange a driver for us to get from point A to point B, accompany us on the local flights. And just what he did for me and my colleague was so incredible. And I think what I got out of your book and what I got from learning and from being taught by you, what happened was at the end of the trip, me and my colleague, we were having dinner, and then just out of nowhere, I said, all right, let's just film a quick thank you to Paulo. And so we did it. And what she told me, and I'm going to end here because this is an actual verbatim quote when we are finished. She turned to me and looked at me straight in the eyes and she said, that was very human of you. And I didn't plan, it just happened. So I think that the book and everything you taught me is now, since we were talking about AI, an algorithm that's going on within me. So I just want to say thank you. You've done an incredible thing. I have no doubt that it'll have impact because it's come at the right time and it's very needed. So thank you and congratulations to Jennifer.
Thank you so much, Michael. I appreciate it. And I'm so happy to hear that story that happened in Brazil. It's fantastic.
I want to just jump in here. We've heard a lot from other folks, Jennifer, but I want to dig in a little bit about your author journey. So I'm going to ask you a few questions just to get a better sense of what that was like for you. And for us to get a little bit of a sense of first of all, let's kick this off. Why did you even write the book? We heard a little bit from Alan about the origin of the system, but what led you to decide I want to write this book?
So ever since I stepped foot into the workforce, which was, in the professional world, it was probably 25 years. And then, in the entrepreneur world, it's been about 5 years. I never felt like I fit. I never could figure out why people were behaving the way they behaved. It was like this strange language and these sports references and, these different cultural things that were happening that no one gave me a playbook for. I had no idea how to interpret the language and culture of these business customs that were happening in the workplace. And I had a background that was in dance and music and art. And so it was very in foreign language. And so going into the business world was a little bit I don't quite understand what's going on here. So I've always been interested in what makes people, what motivates people, right? What makes them tick and why do they behave and how do they behave that way? And what's driving that behavior? And so I started observing that, when I set foot in the workplace, just to try to figure out how could I best contribute and add value and interact with, the people around me. And as I, spent time in the business world, it became very clear to me that, I never met a leader, even one leader, who decided, that they wanted to go to work and make everyone's day miserable. But I met a lot of leaders who, had great intentions, but they didn't have the tools in their toolkit that they needed to lead people. They were leading everything but people. They were leading process. They were leading procedure. They were leading profitability. They were leading performance, but they weren't actually leading the human beings that were responsible for all of those things right in front of them. And when COVID hit, COVID brought the human element of business to the forefront in a way that I think none of us have seen in our lifetimes. And I hope we never have to go through another COVID again. But I think one of the benefits that it did bring was that it did force the focus on all of those other things to slighten and bring the human element to the forefront. So when we all got on Zoom for the first time in March of 2020, the carefully constructed walls that we had of, how we look and how we behave and how we are perceived came crumbling down. We've got, the messiness of life that was on display before Zoom figured out how to blur our video cameras in the backgrounds. And so leaders all of a sudden had to shift into, I've got this person who's trying to homeschool and care for an aging parent and this and that, and they're trying to be on a call with me while their child is, on the computer and the cat's walking across the screen. So they didn't have the tools that they needed. And I think one of the things that I was hoping for with this book was, can we give them some tools that will help them lead human beings and help them address what humans need to perform and be at their best? And we know from research that when that happens, everything else falls into place. You don't have to manage the performance and the profit and the margins, because the people are going above and beyond for you. I like to, I always say that, there aren't any toxic leaders. There are leaders who have behaviors that are toxic. And it's important to understand where those behaviors are coming from so that you can help them readjust and reshift and reshape to be more effective in their leadership.
Thank you for sharing that. And, I've written a few books myself. I know the writing process is not easy. What was it like for you, though? What was that process like as you were trying to get these concepts on paper?
I will tell you, I would email Alan every once in a while, and I would tell him, Alan, I'm going to have the book drafted and this is going to be done, and I'll be boom, 3 months and we'll be good, right? And I had to keep emailing him and telling him, I'm still working on it. I'm sorry I didn't hit that deadline, but I'm still working on it. And so I liken it to snowboarding. I don't know if any of you out there have, tried snowboarding or even tried skiing, but when you first start out snowboarding or skiing, there's a lot of falling. It's a lot of bumps. It's very painful. It's not linear. There's a lot of fits and starts. You fall down, you get back up, you fall down, you get back up. And for me, the writing process was very similar to that. So it took, a lot of fits and starts and a lot of bumps and painful moments for me to really be in a space where I could find my voice as an author. So I've written a dissertation before, and that was a completely different animal. The writing style is different. The tone is different. The way you structure the book, the dissertation is completely different from structuring a book. So it was a process where I was learning constantly. I probably revised the outline, I think at least 4 times. But I realized that with pretty much everything else in my life, I don't work so well with a strict structure. So for me, it worked well to allow the book to emerge as I wrote it. There were some days where, I could only write a few sentences because of things that were going on in my life. And there were other days where I could write thousands of words. So, one of the things I had thought about that I didn't realize was that I thought when I wrote the book that I would turn in the manuscript and I would be done and that would be it. But little did I know there is so much more to writing a book than just writing the manuscript. Writing the manuscript is getting you into the gate. Now I'm an author where I'm going through this life cycle of a book to, edit and do the graphic design and do the indexing and all these other things that bring the book to life in this beautiful format that you see before you today. And it's super exciting, and it's very demanding. But I'm proud to say that I'm an author now, and I'm just so excited for this book to be out in the world and to share it with everyone.
So, I was looking through the book, and there's this one powerful concept that I wanted to refer to. Obviously underlying the whole book is the idea that we're all human. But in reality, leaders tend to not lead humans. They tend to lead resources. So is this something that we just need to rethink entirely? Is there like a reset button that we need to hit?
Mm-hmm. I think COVID was a reset button for us. The problem was that the toolkits were empty. So leaders lead people. And I think when we look at our own leadership and we look at our own lives, are we leading people? Or what, if we're not leading people, what are we leading? And so taking a look at that from a transactional standpoint, like CB was mentioning, versus a transformational standpoint with human leadership, I think there's a huge opportunity for the field itself. Leadership hasn't evolved in probably 100 years, right? We've got about 100 years of research on leadership, and we are essentially leading the same way that we were leading in the early 1900s. There isn't much difference. So why hasn't that changed? And everything around us has changed. Context has changed. Environment has changed. Exogenous factors have shifted. But we're still leading like it's 1999, like Prince would say. So let's take this opportunity to level up that leadership and refocus on how we can help create the conditions to support the people who are with us in striving for these organizational objectives and help them deliver the best performance they can possibly deliver. And in turn, the organization will have the results that it needs, and the world will be a much, hopefully, peaceful and calmer place.
I love this. I can't wait to help more people get access to this book. Speaking of which, what's the impact so far? I know you mentioned 19 reviews. By the way, 20. Mine just showed up. So 20
excellent.
Reviews, and I'm sure by the end of today, we'll see a few more. But what are some of the other ways that this has sort of had an impact so far?
Yeah, I don't know that I'm the best person to answer that question because I'm not the person out there with the book in the field using it day to day. I do use it with my clients. But I will say that I've had some feedback come back to me about the book where, there was a person who was a parent with a newborn, and they said, I'm not a leader. I don't run Ford Motor Company. I don't have all these people reporting to me. But I do have this infant in my arms, and I want to be the best leader I can possibly be for this infant so that they can grow up and self-actualize and be the best human being they can be. And that, really struck me because as I go through my days, I keep seeing these examples of here's another application for the book. Here's another way that this book can apply, even if you're not a business professional, even if you're not in the automotive industry, even if you're not a person who has lots of people reporting to you and you have the title of, CXO or a people leader or a leader of leader. So I think another impact the book has had for me personally, it allowed me to connect with my ballet teacher. I started taking dance when I was 3 years old. And I had a ballet teacher who was very dear to my heart. And I connected with her on LinkedIn. And I have not seen her or talked to her in 40 years. So to have that opportunity to come together and connect with this person who, I looked up to and admired as a role model for myself at that young age, and have that opportunity to speak with her now, it was such a gift. And that's one of the things I love about this book is that it's helping me connect and reconnect with people in my life who have meant a lot to me. Just as everyone here on the call, I haven't talked to Michael in a couple of years. Yolanda and I worked together a couple of years ago. Shannon, Emily. It's so wonderful to be able to have those connections and continue to build on those relationships. So I'm hopeful that the book continues to have, a positive impact for everyone that picks it up and reads it.
What a gift you gave that teacher. I know so many people who would think, "Oh, it's been too long. I can't." I mean, it's been 5 years. I can't reach out to that person. It's something I hear from a lot of my clients. But yes, if you'd be happy to hear from them and they'd remember your name, you should reach out. And I'm sure you made her decade to have that happen. So as we wrap up this piece of the interview, I'm just curious: is there anything else about the book that you want to make sure people know?
Yeah, there's a couple of things. I think I've mentioned already, this isn't just a book for people who have the title of leader. It's for anyone who wants to realize their best self and make the world around them a better place. It's for professionals of all ages in all industries who want meaning and purpose in their work. It's for people in every role who want to create a humans first culture in their organization or institution or firm or school. It's for change agents who want to revolutionize the entire talent lifecycle and turn that upside down and make it work for employees as well as the organizations. And it's for every human being who wants to make the world and the world of work a better place.
Wow. Thank you so much. Hey, before everyone runs off, but we actually have a little more time for folks who can stick around. But before everyone has to jump off, if they have a call right now, I want to do a quick group photo. So if you're willing to have your cameras on and sit up a little taller so that we can see you, that'd be lovely. So if you were, in person, I tell you to get close together and put your drinks down, but stay where you are, sit up nice and tall, look at the camera. Ready? 3, 2, 1, cheese. Fantastic. I don't think anyone blinked. Listen, I dropped a few things in chat just now that I want to draw your attention to. These are what we call calls to action. It's your opportunity to play a role in helping this book reach more people and have the bigger impact. So 1, get yourself a copy of this book if you haven't yet. 2, buy a second or third or fourth or fifth copy of the book to send off to someone you think would really benefit from this. You've heard from a lot of people about the value in here. This isn't just a fluff piece. I found it really impressive just how much studying and research had gone into it. It's not just her opinion, right? It's these 50 plus stories coming from hundreds and hundreds of interviews and a lifetime of research in some ways. So definitely get a copy of that. There's also a complimentary online human leader index, and I dropped a link in for that as well. So that's at drjennifernash.com/HLI. And as a fellow author, I'm going to make the plea for an Amazon review. 2 or 3 sentences. Here are 2 prompts for you. Write about something you got from it. Like, what did you learn? How did it change the way you're thinking? Some takeaway or nugget that you thought was really useful. And then second, who should read the book? Like, who would be the ideal reader? A book review like that is incredibly helpful for a prospective reader, because they get to think, is this a book for me? And particularly if you don't have the title leader, if you're not the CEO, right, then I think it's really helpful for you to say that, because there are lots of people who will find value in this book who maybe think, oh, this isn't a book for me. Well, share who you are. So unless you're related, you can't post a review if you're related to Jennifer. But other than that, everyone here on the call should be going and doing that. I also posted in here a couple of ways that you can connect and support Jennifer. One is she would like to be introduced to podcasters and media contacts, business schools that are seeking new leadership textbooks, or maybe some guest speakers. And if anyone here happens to know Brene Brown, Oprah, all right, those are aspirational asks, but you got to put them out there. And then the other piece here I wanted to bring your attention to is that there are lots of ways that you can work with Jennifer. And I dropped her contact info in so you can start a conversation. You've heard from some of the people who've experienced working with Jennifer, but she's also looking to work with organizations that might want to pilot workshops or give her feedback on those workshops that she's been developing. Of course, you can bring Jennifer in to speak. I say, of course, but sometimes people don't realize authors also can speak, and Jennifer can do that for you. And you can hire her for executive coaching, as a strategic advisor, maybe to run a group mastermind. And she can always come and conduct a leadership development workshop or a personalized 360-degree assessment. So many ways to connect. We want to actually now stick around. We're going to do some, what are your takeaways? But first, we have a couple of prize wheels. And so this first prize wheel is for a 45-minute coaching session. Would you share a little bit about what that is?
Yeah. So the 45-minute coaching session is an opportunity for someone to work with me one-on-one, where we come in and have a structured session around a particular goal that you have that you'd like to achieve. And we put an action plan into place for one of the first steps you can take to work towards that goal.
Brilliant. All right. These people were eligible because they posted their review by May 5th. So thank you for those early reviews that helped get the ball rolling. And Emily, congratulations, Emily. Dun, 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 dun. Awesome.
I love the music, Robbie. That's a surprise.
Okay. Now, what's the next one? We're doing a button. What's this button about?
Yeah, so the button, there's no prize wheel. It's just the people who submitted reviews by a certain date. They are getting a digital button that they can display all over their social media if they'd like to do that.
All right, cool. So this is actually all the people who submitted a review are getting that?
No, these are for the reviews that were submitted by May 8th.
Yeah.
So there are 6 people who are receiving a digital button.
Oh, fantastic. I'll put their names
Limited edition digital button. And I'd like to shout out to Jody Hirsch, who is my amazing graphic designer who's created this button just for you guys. So Gina Cox, Stacy Feiner, Gope Scopoluni, Maya Mattis, Emily McHenry, and Gautam Linu will be receiving the digital button.
Okay. And you're also giving away 2 signed copies, which makes them priceless, of your book. And with that, let's see. This is everyone who registered as of this morning, minus anyone related to you or who worked at your company or had a speaking role today, I think. Here we go. Bum-ba-da-da. Congratulations. Congratulations. I don't know if they're here right now, but we will make sure that they get access to this afterwards.
Yeah, I think I saw Chinza online, so I think she's here.
All right, fantastic. So we now want to give you all who are here an opportunity to share what you're.
Robbie, we need to actually spin the wheel one more time.
Oh, right. Thank you so much for pointing that out. We only gave away one of those. Let's do that.
Plus, I just want to hear the music again.
I know. Here we go. Thank you for pointing that out.
Yep.
And it's Kelly. Congratulations, Kelly. I also saw Kelly was here earlier today as well.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. So now it's your turn. If you've been patiently waiting a chance to share something. I saw some folks that are sharing, and thank you. Mickey loves my magic. Yes. Knowing how to press a button on a wheel. Let's see. We've got some folks who've already shared a little bit about their takeaways, and I'm going to just see if any of them want to come. Skylar had some thoughts. Skylar, are you still here? And if you're willing to unmute, let's see. I'm going to give people the ability to do so. Skylar, go ahead and unmute, and we'll have you join us.
Okay. Hi.
There you are. All right. So Skylar, let's bring you in here.
Okay.
So Skylar, you share a little bit about having a lot of takeaways. So what are some of the top takeaways that you had for the book?
Oh gosh. The way I generally describe the book when I'm talking about it with people is that Jennifer's a big believer in the old adage that people don't quit jobs, they quit bosses. And Be Human, Lead Human is teaching you how to be a boss nobody wants to quit. And so this was just my takeaways are, here's how to not suck as a boss, which sounds a little crass when I put it that way, but it really is. It's just how to be authentic, how to tap into your humanity, how to use your empathy, how to build empathy skills if you're not really used to it. What I really think is valuable in this book is that she breaks down so many of the outdated beliefs of like, here's what you've been taught. Here's why you would think that would work. Here's why you're wrong. And I love my role on the JNCC team. You might have heard Jennifer mention me with her list earlier. I help write the LinkedIn newsletter and the blog. And I've gotten so many takeaways because Jennifer expands on her book with me. We've done so many conversations where I'm just like, hey, this line in the book prompted this question for me. Explain that to me. And then that 30-minute conversation turns into, a 1,000-word article that we write. And we're just digging into these topics. And so we're learning so much about how to be a leader that people want to stay with, because you're making an impact on their lives, you're making an impact on the organization, and you're making an impact on the world, offering value to everyone involved. So it's been really fun.
Awesome. And thank you for your role in helping bring this book into the world. Thank you for that, Skylar. Austin, if you're willing, give me a wave, because Austin shared a little bit in chat about the empathy section being really important to him. So, all right. So let's bring Austin in. So yeah, you said the section on empathy was particularly compelling for you. Say maybe a little more about that.
Yeah, I'll try to keep it short. I was reminded of Vanilla Ice's "Stop, Collaborate, and Listen." I think Jennifer just had a real direct message on, if all these tools and tips are too difficult, just shut up and listen. I love that. I think I laughed a lot throughout this book, more than I thought that I would. And I really like just the humanizing element of that section, right? Just really trying to understand that, there's people behind all the things they're trying to do. They're motivated by lots of different things in their life. They've got challenges like we all do. And if we just take a moment and really listen and use some of those different layers of understanding and listening, then we can get to some great results. And I thought it was just really practical, really humanizing, and something that I could start to put into place right away for myself. And I think she said like 96% of people in Accenture study said they think they're better listeners. And I'm like, definitely me. I keep catching myself, pulling up a tab here during a team meeting or whatever. So just really appreciated that section.
Brilliant. I've been thinking a lot about it in the context of being a parent, because I think the thing my kids teach me the most, Jennifer, is patience. At least that's the lesson I learn over and over. And the more empathy I have for their situation, I think has helped me as a parent. So I'm keen to try to apply this in that context. I want to just call everyone's attention back to our top 3 calls to action. I will just say we would really love for you to obviously buy the book and get the book's great gift to share with someone. But writing a review, it's so important. And it's not easy as an author to get reviews. And they seem to mostly come in right around the book launch and maybe a few will trickle in later. So if you are willing, please commit to writing a review. If you haven't already, if you're one of the 20, thank you so much. But if you are willing to write your Amazon review, please commit to doing so this week. So let's say by Sunday, so that we can really see those numbers up. I will say, Jennifer, you've already achieved something that most authors have not, and that is 20 reviews. I get pitched authors all the time for my podcast that had 8 reviews, and I'm like, you spent thousands of dollars to get pitched. You didn't ask your network for any help. So I think, though, aiming for 50 reviews is reasonable and doable, and your community will come through for you. So if you're willing to, please commit to writing a review in the next few days. And Jennifer, any closing thoughts as we sort of wrap up this amazing kickoff?
I'm so grateful to everyone that has played a role in this book. Without the people that gave me their time and their stories to be interviewed, and spending that time with me on the call, and then the follow-ups, to confirm the stories and to correct anything that may have needed correcting. For all of the people who wrote an endorsement for the book, to Ellen again for writing the foreword. It really takes a village to write a book. It is not a solo endeavor. And I could not have done this without my amazing team, my friends and the family that have supported me. So I'm so grateful to everyone for coming today and for showing that love and support and encouragement. It means the world to me. And I'm just so grateful that Be Human is out there in the world, and we can, together, we can make the world a better place. So thank you to everyone.